Aquarius, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Born Without Boundaries Tarot here on Astrology Motivation. We're going to cover the week of June 7th through the 13th, 2023. In this video, I'm going to go over the major planetary aspects and transits that are happening this week and how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your day-to-day. You don't need to know exactly where your sun is located. I know a lot of you have your natal charts, and that's good. And if you don't have your natal chart, go get one because it's really easy and it's free. All you have to do is search free natal chart, and there's a bunch of websites that do it. You'll need your birth date, your birth time, and your birth location. And in a few seconds, it'll spit out your entire birth chart. And if you love astrology, and I'm assuming if you watch this video, you do love astrology, that's the best place to start, is your own natal chart, to start learning basic astrology, the perfect place to begin. But you don't need that for this video. All you need to know is your birth date, which I'm sure you already know, because I'll be giving you the correlating decans, which I'll tell you all about. The correlating decans, the correlating birth dates, so the span or the estimated birth dates that cover or that are correlated to the decans. Now, what is a decan? A decan is a group of 10 degrees. All zodiac signs have 30 degrees, so there's 3 decans in each zodiac sign. And the reason astrologers break it down into 10 degrees is because it's that 10-degree toggle point that really determines if an aspect or an angle between two planets is actually formed. So anything beyond that or too much under it is not that aspect, but we have that 10-degree leeway. So in grouping your natal suns into those decans, we can estimate about what is really impacting you for each week. So I'm going to start really broad with those big things that everybody should be talking about. And then those things that are particularly of interest to Aquarius, we're going to focus down into it after that. And then I'll break things down into the decans, okay? And I will definitely estimate whose birthday, which and where is being affected. Let's talk about the big stuff. I have it all written down, guys. I've all written down for you. All written down. So if you see my eyes going down, you know exactly where it's going. There's 2 big transits this week. And the transits are Gemini is moving into its domicile or its home Mercury is moving into its home of Gemini. And Mercury in Gemini is really fun, really playful, really intellectual, very academic, wants to learn, and wants to also distribute information and talk about what it's learned. Now, since it's also trying to Pluto for this whole week, while it transits into from Taurus into Gemini, what might it have discovered or found? And I think we're going to get some news that's coming out. That's what I think, because while this is happening, Pluto is in direct opposition to Venus, which also impacts finances and value systems, and Venus simultaneously is also square to Jupiter, which makes everything bigger, more exaggerated, dramatic, and impossible to ignore. So we get some big hits on the news front for this coming week. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on. So anyway, another big transit is going to be Pluto itself. Pluto is transiting in retrograde back into Capricorn. This is really when the beginning of Pluto in Aquarius starts, but there's a couple of retrogrades back into Capricorn while it settles into place over this next year, and this is one of them. Now, that doesn't majorly impact is it a big change? I think it's a big change because it is while Pluto is transiting back into Capricorn, and Pluto in Capricorn is all about the destruction and complete revelation of the ugly of the corporate world, our industry, our businesses, our careers, things like that. It is trying to Mercury, and which is very investigative and intuitive energy, and then it's also in direct opposition to Venus, so who is in Leo. So Venus is very egotistical in Leo. So there can be a lot of big heads and big egos rolling when it comes to that global effect or impact, Aquarius, which should be really interesting for you guys. But in terms of Pluto moving from 0 degrees Aquarius into 29 degrees Capricorn, those of you in the first decan or the first couple of days of Aquarius are not going to be, your natal sun is still going to be conjunct to Pluto, which means there's still going to be major changes in your life. It's just when Pluto is in Capricorn, where is that focus? So it could be some stuff that happens when it comes to career all of a sudden, especially specific ones of you will kind of feel maybe a weight lifting or maybe a thud. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Another aspect that's happening this week, because we've talked about Venus's opposition to Pluto and her square to Jupiter. We've also talked about Mercury being trine to Pluto, but Mars is going to be trine to Chiron, and this is really beautiful energy. It's really healing energy. It's really an energy of finally catching up with how you can feel good about everything that you've been through and getting some harmony and maybe make some progress because of that. So that's really actually beautiful energy, and it kind of makes me think that there's some healing that can actually go on, or ways in which we can move on from or learn our lessons learned the hard way kind of energy. So let's talk about your ruling dignitaries, Aquarius. We have Saturn and we have Uranus. Uranus is your traditional ruler. Uranus is your modern ruler, and Saturn is your traditional ruler. They both still impact you. We always focus more on Uranus for Aquarius, but Saturn is still going to be impacting Aquarius. So let's talk about what Saturn is doing. It's posting stationary because next week it's about to go in retrograde. So there is a slowing down when it comes to laws, rules, regulations, and people getting in your face about it. There's a slowing down that you're already going to start to feel. Saturn is still sextile to the North Node and trine to the South Node. It is square to Mercury as of the 12th. So at the very end of this week, it becomes square to Mercury when it's about to go into retrograde. I'm not sure how long that will last, but ultimately that will start to impact specific people. Saturn square Mercury is almost disagreements or arguments when it comes to who should be in authority, challenges to your thinking processes, just getting into sort of tit for tat when it comes to discussions. Kind of hard-headed discussions is kind of what it accumulates to. And then Saturn is also quincunx to Venus as she's in opposition to Pluto and square to Jupiter. So there is a bit of unrest when it comes to Saturn. It's almost like in some ways Saturn is in retreat or has to review its shit. I just want to say that out loud. And then we have Uranus. We have Uranus at 20 degrees Taurus. And 20 degrees Taurus is where it will stay all week, and it's largely unaspected all week, except for that in the beginning of the week, the loose conjunction to Mercury that still exists, but that passes within a couple of days. There is a sense of Uranus kind of free to cause the chaos that it loves to cause. So we'll see what happens there. Let's dive into the decan, shall we? If your natal sun is located between 0 and 9 degrees Aquarius, you are in Aquarius 1 because your natal sun is located in decan 1 of Aquarius. How does this translate into birthdays? Basically, if you're January Aquariuses, basically from January 22nd, maybe through the 31st, this would be you guys. It's an estimate because Aquarius season doesn't start and end at the same time every year. But ultimately, that would be about you guys. Pluto will remain at 0 degrees Aquarius until the 10th of this week when it transitions into until the 10th, 11th, because by the 11th it'll be fully transited into Capricorn, FYI. So Aquarius ones, you are still, especially if you're on the Capricorn cusp, your natal suns are still conjunct to Pluto. This gives you a gravitas about your energy. It gives you a no bullshit context to everything that you do. It also means that your life could be going through major metamorphosis and change, but that is long term and will continue to happen over the next couple of years for you guys. You also have a long-term sextile to Neptune, which is just brilliant energy for creativity and imagination. Definitely get your hands into creativity and let wherever your creativity wants to spill out, get it done, because these are huge opportunities that will open up for you if you do. Once again, over the next couple of years. We also have a longer term aspect to Jupiter, squared to Jupiter. So you are square to Jupiter. Your natal suns are square to Jupiter. That was my sister. I just said goodbye to. Your natal suns are square to Jupiter, which means that everything is kind of exaggerated and larger than life. And maybe in some ways you could be a little bit big-headed and pig-headed. For the next week or so. That's been longer term though, because Jupiter's kind of been impacting your natal suns for a while, but everything could seem much more dramatic. Now, it doesn't have to be bad. It could actually turn out good, but it will create challenges, especially challenges around you or people challenging you. Just an FYI. This week in particular, we have a trine to Mercury, which is fantastic. Brilliant energy, fantastic time to speak right, speak well, communicate appropriately, ideas popping off, really being able to think clearly. This is great, great energy to take tests, give presentations, go on interviews, even just impress somebody with your wit and wisdom. Like, this is great time for conversations and communications. I love it. We also have an opposition to Venus, which means it could also kind of, you could feel not so great about yourself. You could feel not so good about your, like, the way that you appear, especially, or yeah, anything that has to do with your image, especially because Venus is in Leo. So at least you'll have Mercury on your side to articulate what you're going through. But still, with that opposition to Venus this week, I do not recommend making any large purchases or making any big changes to your aesthetics, because you could be running on being self-conscious as opposed to really coming from a confident place. And there could be dissonance in your relationship this week. It doesn't mean it's going to end. It just means there could be dissonance there, FYI. So, Aquarius 2s. Aquarius 2s. Your natal suns are located between 10 and 19 degrees Aquarius. And how that translates to birthdays, it's about, say, the 1st through the 10th of February. Your natal suns are opposite Mars, which means watch out for accidents, dude. Just be particularly, over the next couple of weeks, be particularly careful with yourself. Don't try to stress or strain yourself, but you are more prone to accidents, and you are more prone to being reactionary and oversensitive and aggressive. So if you're feeling an unusual hot-headedness, this is why. And it is wonderful in this aspect to count to 10 before you speak or react to anything, to give yourself a few extra breaths and some more time to calm down and get yourself back to calm. It won't last forever, but it will be kind of challenging while it's happening. You have a long-term aspect to Chiron, which is the sextile to Chiron. This is actually really wonderful energy, and I would say to you that wait, that doesn't make much sense. No, it's a trine to Chiron, right? Because, no. Because Chiron is in Aries. Yeah, sextile to Chiron. This is an opportunity for you guys to sort of open up, to be in a place where you can heal and start to use and find opportunities that come or stem from what you've been through, how you've suffered. It doesn't mean you're taking advantage of anything. It means you're actually taking what you've been through and the crap that you've been through, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, whatever it was, and be able to find a purpose for it and put it to action and put it to work, especially in healing others. So that's actually really beautiful and cathartic energy. This week in particular, at least through the 11th, your natal suns are going to be trine to the sun, which is in Gemini. This is actually really beautiful energy because it means feeling good about yourself again, or healing damages that have been done to your ego, especially just having a sense of like really feeling confident about yourself and your life purpose. So that's a nice blessing for this week. And then we have Aquarius 3s. So Aquarius 3s, if your natal sun is located between 20 and 29 degrees Aquarius, you are Aquarius 3s. I estimate that these, in terms of birthdays, it's between the 11th and the 20th of February. Sometimes it's the 19th, right? Because sometimes it ends really early. I remember Pisces begins kind of early, but it's basically the last, estimate about 10 days of Aquarius season. So usually it goes in most other zodiac signs from the 11th through the 21st, in and around there. Your natal suns have been in a long-term square to Uranus, and Uranus is largely unaspected this week, which means it has no tether or clear direction. So expect the challenges coming from unexpected places, because shit's gonna surprise you and is gonna caterwaup you from behind. It's gonna hit you upside the head. And they're challenges to your comfort levels, or what you know. Were you even aware of something? It's going to require that you be very ingenuitive. That's sort of what the challenges with Uranus is about. Loves to surprise you and make you inventive. So as long as you stay open-minded and flexible, you'll be able to deal with this better. And then we have a trine to the sun by the 11th. So in the beginning of the week, it's really Aquarius 2s that have the interaction with the sun. But by the end of the week, at least the very beginning of Aquarius 3s, you guys maybe are on the 10th or 11th of February. If your birthdays are on the 10th or 11th especially, you guys will start to feel the radiance of that sun trine the sun, feeling really good and confident about yourself. And then you'll have the rest of next week to enjoy it. I love you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this forecast, and I hope you subscribe to the channel, please, so you can get forecasts every single week. And then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot and enjoy your week ahead tarot card reading. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye, Aquarius.